And now we take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. With petrol subsidy costs skyrocketing after months of denial, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, yesterday finally admitted that it was owing huge debts to its international petrol suppliers. The national oil company stated that due to the situation, it was facing financial strain, thereby impacting supply sustainability and posing substantial threats to national fuel supply. Since the news was first reported by international news media in the first quarter of this year, the NNPC has consistently said the long fuel queues in the country was not caused by the debts. In different instances since the news became public, the NNPC has blamed weather conditions, including thunder and lightning, flooding and bad roads for the long fuel lines across the country. As recent as 2 weeks ago, the oil company also debunked the recurring reports in the media that it owes international oil traders up to $6.8 billion. But it appeared to have soft-pedaled during the months when it explained that since the oil trading business is carried out on credit, it is normal for the NNPCL to owe at one time or the other. All right, so I believe we're edging closer to the truth, Rufai. I don't know if this is the full truth, the whole truth, or nothing but the truth, but at least they've come out with an explanation as to why, despite, we're going to get supply very soon, we're going to have the queues go out. For the last 2 months, we've had consistently fuel queues in Nigeria and a shortage on supply. Your take on this story?
You know, Rihanna sang a song many years ago, Miss Robin Fenty, the singer from Barbados. She says, "You put up such a show, very entertaining. Now it's time to go. Now it's time to go." You know, truth is, now it's over now. They are only sorry because they got caught. This same NNPC lies a lot. That's a fact, a statement of fact. Because when the Reuters report came out and we reported it, they said we were the ones lying, and they denied. And that's why Dele Gima was apt when he said it is for the government to hide the details. It is for us to bring out the details ourselves as journalists. We said it, that was the reason why they were going through all this bottlenecks they were going through. But they kept on saying it was not true. Also, the Cable did a story saying that the federal government has finally said that they can now go ahead and take some of the profit they were going to declare, about the 4 trillion, to be able to service or pay for their debts. They said otherwise for that story too. But it has come out to show that NNPC is now a lying machine. And the truth is, see, what is more important to the Nigerian people out there that I saw this morning queuing for fuel and having to buy black market is how they can get things running. There are many lies NNPC has not still told us. I mean, the truth they have not still told us. The Port Harcourt refinery, they said, was going to be ready in August. Today is the 2nd of September, is nowhere to be found. How much are they spending on those refineries? In their books, they said 4 trillion, their reports. So the money they are spending on those refineries even eclipse the cost of their so-called profits. So it's to show you the way the NNPC is being terribly run. We are happy the truth is out now. NNPC, at least, maybe the government has given you the go-ahead. You can take from the profit you say you declare to be able to fix your encumbrances. But the question is, what other lies are they telling us? Keep it to yourself. We will know. Go ahead, keep it.
Okay. Very quickly, it is true that initially NNPCL denied that they were heavily indebted. After Reuters, it was Reuters that first reported that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited was owing about $6.8 billion. Now that NNPC has admitted, the question you raise is, why did they deny in the first place? Why that initial talk about bad roads, about weather conditions? But I think that the fuel scarcity has remained for so long. The fuel queues have been there for so long. They probably were hoping that they could solve the problem. But now, we have reached a moment where, they had to come clean and say that, look, fuel sustainability in terms of supply and also the queues that you have on the road, is as a result of the fact that we are heavily indebted. Not just about, well, you run business on credit. Now, that's the context. But the question to ask is, what will be the implications? The implication will be that, one, the NNPC Limited, which is the breadwinner of the Nigerian economy, more or less declaring financial strain. I think that's the phrase that, or financial pressure. That's the phrase that the NNPCL spokesman, Femi Shoneye, used. The technical word that some other people will use is financial bankruptcy. If NNPCL is financially bankrupt, then we're in trouble. It means that, the entire country is in serious trouble. Now, I think that this should be a wake-up call for both the Minister of Petroleum State, I think we have, yes, Minister of Petroleum State, and the President himself, who holds the position of the Minister of Petroleum. Now, what it means, in terms of implication also, is that fuel prices will remain going up.
Yes.
The fuel queues will remain. And so what you have is a perfect storm situation. People may ask, why is it that NNPCL cannot just pay its debts, its debt obligations? Now, the issue will be that crude oil that we have, 1.3, 1.4 production per day, that is already, that production rate is already committed to debt obligations. So it means that there will be no money that is coming in, even as fine as our crude. Brent crude, which is the finest, crude category within the market. So what we have seen here is a cumulative effect of the crisis in the oil and gas sector. Now, the third point will be, what is the way forward? Now, some people have shown excitement that you have the Dangote refinery, which I understand is now producing at about 70-80%, are producing the highest grade of PMS in the world. But one of the lessons we have learned is that the PMS produced by the Dangote refinery may not necessarily be sold to Nigerians, because there are issues in terms of how much would the Nigerian government buy? How much would the NNPCL buy from the Dangote refinery? So Dangote refinery might as well sell whatever it has, offshore. More so as there is a breach of trust, there is confidence, crisis between Dangote refinery and NNPCL. As part of the solution, in terms of the way forward, I think Atiku Abubakar, a presidential candidate of the PDP, has recommended that the NNPCL should be listed on the stock exchange. I have no doubts that in the days to come, experts within that industry will come up with other recommendations. It's not enough for us to wring our hands and say, they've made mistakes. The question is, what is the way forward to make sure that, government addresses the problem? Because what we have in our hands with the breadwinner of the Nigerian economy being bankrupt is that it's a perfect storm. They say they want to give Kaduna refinery and Warri refinery to operation and maintenance managers who will want to do business with the Nigerian government that is talking about financial pressure, financial bankruptcy. Even the Chinese will be reluctant, because if your breadwinner is in trouble, then it's a larger national problem.
Absolutely. I think that's, for me, is a concern this morning. Two-pronged. Number one, for the Nigerian people, especially those who've had to suffer in the last few months at fuel queues and just hustling, as it were, to be able to fuel their vehicles, buy fuel, petrol for their generators in their businesses. That's a whole new another conversation. So suffering on two levels, not being able to get power regularly and then having to self-regulate or self-govern by getting generators and not even having the fuel to power those generators. And then, of course, what this means for investment and what this means especially for people who might be looking to do business with us in Nigeria. One of the key things when it comes to partnerships and investment is trust. Trust, integrity, and the ability to be able to believe what is being said. I think it looks really bad and reflects very poorly on the management and governance structure of NNPCL, especially as Dr. Bati has described it, as a breadwinner of the nation. If we're not able to manage, especially information, that pertains to what is going on. A lot of people have started postulating theories as to what could possibly be the reason behind the fuel queues, despite the protection of the PIA, the purported removal of fuel subsidy, and how we should have supply in abundance. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case. And now, months down the line, we're now seeing, finally, perhaps coming true. But the reason I asked or posed that question initially, that, I hope this is now the full truth, is that what then happens is that it breeds a trust deficit, not just with the Nigerian people, but also with investors. And that is the challenge when, a lot of times you ask, just come clean. Yes, we must manage information, especially for a business as sensitive as the NNPCL, but we must also be able to ensure that we don't give frivolous reasons for what is clearly an incident where things haven't been managed properly. The other part, I think, is that now we must seriously begin to consider if there's any time for non-oil revenue-generating aspects of the economy. We must look into other parts like mining, other structures that have been put in place to generate revenue for Nigeria, because obviously it looks like the profits that we're celebrating just a few days before is now going to go into debt. So not only is the GDP to debt ratio in Nigeria at an alarming rate, now our breadwinner is also going to be using most of its profits to service debts. And so those are conversations. I don't think this is, in any way the end of the conversation. It just opens up another topic of conversation into what is really going on. That's why I really agree with the position of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar that we transparency, list it so that we can begin to see clearly what is really going on with regards to the management, the governance of NNPCL. But again, like I said, it just opens up the conversation. Later on, we have a guest who will be talking about the refinery aspect of NNPCL.